Hey guys, over the last couple of years, I've had loads of people ask me how they can support the show, and now you can. So if you like this show and you want to support it and you want to keep it free, head on over to everyonelovesguitar.com/support. That's everyonelovesguitar.com/support. Thanks for all you do. If you're a business owner and you want to increase your cash flow, or if you're a label or artist and you want to promote new music, then listen up. For information about advertising on Everyone Loves Guitar, including information on geographically targeted ads, go to everyonelovesguitar.com/advertise. That's everyonelovesguitar.com/advertise. Hey guys, I got to tell you a quick story. I recently put in a pair of EMG pickups into my Les Paul Classic. And tinkering with electronics, wires, not my bag. That being said, a little over an hour later, I'd installed the pickups with literally no problems at all. And the quality of the sound is absolutely amazing. I put in the retroactive Fat 55s. That's a new set that they have, and that's because I wanted a vintage, British Brown sound. And these Fat 55s are modeled after the tone of the classic PAFs, which is exactly what I got. The thing I wasn't expecting is it sort of feels like my volume and tone knobs have been expanded to 20. There's like a lot more responsiveness in the volume and tone, and I could even get harmonics now at low volumes on the neck pickup, and any preconceived notions I had about installation being difficult or, there's a problem having a battery in there were totally wrong. The battery thing, it's like putting a battery in one of my kids' toys when they were little children growing up. It's just a total non-issue. And in fact, I'm going to wind up getting the Strat set next because installation for that is even easier because it comes with the pick guard and the pickup's already attached to the pick guard. And if you want to check out EMGs for yourself, now's actually a great time to do this because Rob and Allison are making a special offer available for listeners of this show only. And here it is. For a limited time, head on over to emgpickups.com, buy one or more sets of pickups, and enter ELG in the discount code section of the shopping cart. ELG, of course, for Everyone Loves Guitar. And they're going to give you 15% off, which is huge. The biggest discounts they ever give is 10%. Plus, they're going to give away $70 worth of free bonuses, including an EMG cinch bag, a pick tin, lanyard, stickers, and a t-shirt. Plus, you get a money-back guarantee if you're not 100% satisfied. Plus, not a 2-year performance guarantee on the performance of the actual pickups themselves, but a lifetime performance guarantee. And on top of everything else, you're going to get free shipping. So there's basically no risk at all here for you to try a set or two of EMG pickups. And the great thing about these pickups is, and I got 2 sets, once you install them, and by the way, there's no soldering involved at all, because I couldn't have done it if there was, quite frankly. But once you do install them, all you need to do to swap them out and put another set in is literally disconnect one wire on each pickup, and then you're done. That's it. It's kind of like putting Legos together. It's that easy. So go to emgpickups.com, enter ELG in the shopping cart for your discount code, and that's it. You get to take advantage of this offer right now. Man, this one's always a big challenge. If you want to buy or sell a home or investment property and you're here in the Tampa Bay area, in Hillsborough, Pinellas, or Pasco counties, then listen up. West Florida Real Estate is a local residential real estate broker that's helped over 250 Bay Area homeowners buy and sell their properties in the last 4 years alone. If you're looking to sell, you'll want to get their free report, The 7 Biggest Mistakes Homeowners Make When Hiring a Realtor. And if you're looking to buy a property, you definitely want to get your hands on the 21 Most Expensive Mistakes Tampa Home Buyers Make When Buying a Home. Each one of these reports is going to save you time and money. Inside, you'll discover the 7 most important things to consider when hiring a realtor, what to do if you're buying and selling a home at the same time, and the danger of choosing a realtor who agrees with everything you say. To get your hands on these free reports, head on over to westfloridarealestate.com. That's westfloridarealestate.com. Hey, everybody. This is Craig Garber. Welcome to Everyone Loves Guitar. And I've got a really interesting jazz. No, I'm not going to call him a jazz guitarist. He's a really interesting guitar player today. We're with Adam Miller. And I just want to give a shout out first to, I think Mark Goldenberg connected us.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Thanks, Mark.
So let me tell you about Adam. He's originally from Australia, as you could hear. He's your profile says he's a jazz guitarist who swings rock and plays a great blues groove as well. He's a really good guitar player. He's got a lot of things going on there. I'm not a particularly heavy jazz guy, and I literally loved his most recent record. So to me, he's just a very solid rock guitar player who's got a very diverse style. He's shared the stage with Les Paul, Tommy Emmanuel. Is that a rite of passage for everyone from Australia? You got to share the stage with Tommy.
I think at some point, yeah. But I did it when I was really young, like pre-YouTube. So anyway, we can get into that later. Yeah.
Russell Morris, Eric Skye, another great guy who was on this show. He's the funniest dude ever. Matt Schofield, also on the show, Charlie Hunter and Adam Levy and Ariel Posen. This is like an Everyone Loves Guitar meetup. All these dudes are on here.
Yeah.
And more. Let me tell you a funny story about Eric, which I'm sure you know. Are you friends with him on Instagram?
I am, yeah.
So the 3 things that guy shows on Instagram were 4: his family, food, weed, and coffee.
Yeah. I think there's a healthy amount of IPAs on there as well.
Yes, right. And, right. There's some booze on there. Right. There's some IPA beer on there. And then amongst all that, he's talking about how much weight he lost. I'm like, how the hell are you doing that with all? I'm trying to figure that one out. Like weed, coffee, IPA, and I lost 35 pounds. Like, holy shit. Back to Adam. I'm sorry. He's played all over the world. He's released 7 solo records. I listened to his last one released last year called The Defining of Success. Man, what a wonderful, like really exciting record, guitar-wise and just song-wise, and we'll talk about that today. He was the Australian Fingerstyle guitar champion, which is amazing because you're crushing electric guitar on that record, and the fact that because fingerstyle is like really difficult, man. He's played an array of international festivals, including Montreal Jazz Festival, Canada, Woodstock Guitar Festival, USA, Guitar Masters, and I'm going to fuck this up, Wrocław?
It's actually pronounced Wrocław.
Right, Poland.
Yeah.
The Lancaster Music Festival in the UK, Carrell Music Expo in Italy, the NAMM Show here in the States, Artisan Guitar Show in the States, the Holy Grail Guitar Show in Germany, the Music Messe Germany Festival, Australian Blues Festival, A Day on the Green, Jazz in the Vines, Melbourne Guitar Festival, Adelaide International Guitar Festival, and Newcastle Jazz Festival. He also traveled to Afghanistan twice to perform for the Australian and Allied forces. How was that?
Insane. Yeah. A once-in-a-lifetime experience that ended up happening twice.
That's so cool. People have gone there and they said it's really. I've spoke to a couple of the musicians who've played, and they said it's just very moving to see all the troops, and you're very much appreciated when you're over there.
Totally, and it's just something you never thought you would do as a musician, just that world, and it gives you a total new appreciation for the people that dedicate their lives that way, and it's scary. Yeah,
it's really scary.
Yeah.
Adam's had feature articles in Guitar Player, Acoustic Guitar, Premier Guitar, Acoustic UK, Australian Guitar, an Australian musician. In his 2013 album, Delayed, it was named one of the top 10 albums of 2012 by Acoustic Guitar Magazine. He was also named one of the top 25 future legends in Australian Guitar Magazine. Adam, thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate you coming on the show, man.
I'm so happy to be here. Yeah.
Oh, man, the pleasure's mine. When did you move to the States here, and what prompted that?
Okay, so I moved in January, just around the NAMM show.
Oh, this year?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
wow.
It's really fresh, and it was as much a life adventure thing for me and my wife as it was a brief career thing. We do have to go back to Australia in July and sort out work visas and that sort of thing again. But it's been really fun. Basically, I've been teaching at a university in Australia for the last 9 years, and it sort of finished up around the end of last year. And so it was just time to, have a bit of an adventure.
That's so cool. You guys don't have any kids right now?
No.
So it's easy to do stuff like that. Well, easier to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
What's been what prompted the move? Just
I've been touring the US pretty 4 times a year for the last 6 years.
Okay.
Going pretty hard. So I do spend a lot of time here, and it was just that thing of doing it before you get too old and too scared out of your comfort zone. And, a lot of it was about, yes, being closer here for touring and that sort of thing, but also just the opportunity to spend time with players I love and get to hang out with them, understand how life works here, and just get to play.
Are you looking to stay here now? Or are you going to go just back and forth still, or you're not sure?
No idea. The future is unknown.
That's a big move. I mean, I'm assuming all your family and your wife's family is over there.
Yeah, we're all there, and we're
tough.
We do also have family here too, which does help. But
that's great.
Yeah, we honestly at this stage there's just no idea. So,
good for you, man. That's nice. That's a nice free fall adventure to do at this point in time in your life where you can do that. That's really cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What's like culturally? What were some of the big differences that you noticed, or like food wise, or just in general, if any?
I don't think there's that much, like Australia isn't that far departed from somewhere like Los Angeles, I guess, especially. So I'm from a city called Newcastle, which is it's 2 hours drive north of Sydney. It's pretty close, but it's, it's still about 1 million people. So
it's a really good sized city.
So it's still pretty cool. And, there's not that much difference. And I think I've spent so much time here that it just doesn't feel that different, to be honest. Yeah.
Where in the States do you like the most that you've been?
Look, well, Los Angeles is a good example of somewhere I hated the few times I came here. And I think just the more I got to know people and work it out, the better it felt. Yeah. So it always became very homely. And the great thing about LA for us is it's one flight home. It's a long flight, but it's one.
Yeah,
you get on a plane, you're in Australia.
Right. Which is great.
Calendar wise, 2 days later, but it's not that far. When I first started coming to the US, like as far back as 2007, New York was always the place because it was magical. It was like where it was all happening. It was all the clubs that I'd seen or heard live albums recorded at. And it was really amazing. But I think over the last, 12 years, the costs and the changing of the city has sort of changed that a bit now.
Yeah, so totally.
It's not quite the place it was even 12 years ago. And I couldn't even
musically,
imagine it
for sure. Yeah.
in the 90s or 80s when, it was really happening. So
I grew up there. There was music, so much music all the time.
Yeah, I couldn't, my whole life, I just wanted to live in New York. It was like, that's the place. And then I slowly watched all the people I knew, musicians, move away. And
well, then you move there and it's like $6,000 for a 2-bedroom apartment. And it's like, seriously, it's like, fucking, I mean, like really?
And that's per week.
Right. It might be in some places, man.
Yeah.
I want to talk about your record from last year, Finding of Success. I really, really enjoyed it, man. And I'm not the kind of guy to blow smoke up your ass.
Thank you.
Great tone, really unique, very unique style. It's jazz. This is what I wrote. But to me, I'm listening to rock music with just the heavy blues and a jazz influence. I mean, it's more rock blues to me than jazz.
Yeah.
Which, as I said, like before the call, that makes the jazz stuff much, for a guy like me who's not a jazzer, it makes it much more accessible.
Categorizing instrumental music is always hard. And, when you put something online, I guess my music, it tends to have a large amount of improvisation. So the closest thing you can always get it to is jazz as far as when you're sort of talking about things, but definitely the influences range a lot wider than that. So,
it was great.
Yeah.
I was curious if all your records are like that musically, or do some because you're a fingerstyle guy, so I'm assuming you have some acoustic.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's been, my career has been sort of, a lot of my notoriety, especially in the US, is as a solo acoustic fingerstyle guitar player.
Okay.
And that's where I sort of developed my reputation and people started to take notice. And my first few albums are very much that, like very predominantly solo acoustic guitar and a little bit of electric guitar, but not much. And there were two reasons for that at the time. It was just sort of growing up, and I was touring a lot with Tommy Emmanuel, doing solo acoustic shows, and it was easy to record. And it was also a period like through my 20s where I actually made the decision to focus more on acoustic guitar, because whenever I picked up an electric guitar, I just ended up trying to sound like Robin Ford badly, or like I couldn't escape my, especially like tonal influences. So I spent a lot of time really just, even when I did record albums, there's a trio album that's acoustic guitar, bass and drums. I made the conscious decision of using an acoustic guitar on it because I couldn't decide on a tone that was me.
So that's where you had your thing on acoustic, and there was no issues with that.
Yeah, I could just
I
play
totally
it.
get that. Yeah.
And like you could sort of, play Robin Ford lines or then a Stevie Ray Vaughan line, but I wasn't thinking about what pickup I was on. So
right.
It took a long time for me to really develop what I felt was me on an electric guitar. Yeah.
Well, it worked, man. Because my next question was, how did you come up with that style? Because it is really unique, both of writing and playing.
Yeah. So I think it's the thing of actually composing a lot for solo guitar, or just because I can do it. So, my whole solo guitar thing has been it started off very Chet Atkins based and ballad sort of thing. And then the more I developed and got into guys like Charlie Hunter, I was able to, play the improvisational stuff, which was really sort of cool, and be able to improvise at the same time, which led me to be able to just sort of compose things on the spot and get the whole band happening on just the one guitar. So all my compositions basically can be played solo or with a trio. But especially for this last record, the first time most of these songs were played were in a trio environment. So we, that was the way the album sort of had to be.
Really great record.
Yeah.
I want to talk a few things about it. I never usually ask about names because like everybody asks about names. And I'm kind of allergic to doing what everybody else does. But that being said, the name of the record is really unusual. The Defining of Success. And also each song title is one word. So let me give the listeners. So like love, home, drugs, habit, fight, comfortable, lawn, sleep, fear, conquer. It's really, to me, it's a little dark. I like that. Not the music's not dark at all, but like that concept sort of is a little dark. I'm attracted to that. Not because I'm a dark person. I just like musically.
Yeah.
I'm attracted to that.
Yeah. It gives the whole idea was that all that music came out of a very serious place. And it came at a time, I guess, with getting older, like, I'm 38 now, started writing this probably when I was about 35.
Hold on, let me get out my violin here that you're getting older at mid-30s.
Yeah.
Listen, well, let me tell you, your barometer is going to change like in 10 years. You're going to be like, I know. I'm still young, and then in 10 years, you're like, I'm still young.
So young, and I totally get that.
No, and that's. I'm not like giving you a hard time. It's just funny because that's just the way it works, man.
But it's definitely a time in your life where you're going, this music thing is. Am I an idiot? Like, like you've got your friends buying houses. They're buying, their third or fourth house. Setting up for, the long term. And I'm just going, how can I afford that next guitar?
Yeah.
or coffee. And, so many of my musical friends were going through this, and I was teaching at a university going like, all right, guys, what are you doing when you leave? And so a lot of my discussions were focused around this whole idea of what success is and what it means and how it's changing in the current world, like for young people as well, where you can sort of go to college and university and do what maybe is the sensible job, but there's no job there anyway.
Right.
And so, it all stemmed originally from that idea. And so the single word titles were very specific of like whatever I was feeling instantly in that moment. and developing the song from that very simple feeling. And I like the single word title because I can tell you what most of it means to me or where it came from, but
That's
then
really cool.
Someone can actually go into it from that point of view, and it's hopefully not so dark. They actually go, oh yeah, that title means this to me. And, you know, I think it makes instrumental music a little deeper, which is what it's always been to me. It's always been my first love. But yeah, and I think it just helps connect a listener a little bit better to it as well.
The record was great, man. And it's interesting. I asked you that because with instrumentals, I've talked to enough artists. It's really hard to name them often, you know, and you come up with names like, you know, bird on a tree, or just, you know, or maybe you're looking at a mug when you write something and you're like, shit, I need a title. So let me call this well, because it looks like a well, you know, and it's really hard, but you can tell that everything here was associated with something, and it was cool. And I enjoyed that.
I think I've always come from a songwriter background, and early, you know, the whole reason I got into instrumental music, to be honest, was like when I was 9 or 10, I was already playing guitar. I was super into Billy Joel, and I tried to sing and my voice wasn't broken. I sounded terrible. And then at the time, my mum bought me a Tommy Emmanuel cassette, and that was back in the days when he was electric guitar driven. But I was just like, I listened to that thing and I went, oh, I sound exactly the same. We both play guitar.
Oh, so it gave you like a light at the end of the tunnel, like, oh, I could do this, stuff like this.
Yeah, I sound the same as this, and I don't have to worry about singing.
Yeah. Okay. That's really, no, but that's important, because you need, like, it's tough enough being an artist, you know, and you need that. Sometimes you need someone else permission in anything in life, not just being an artist. Sometimes we all need like permission to do this, whatever it is we're doing, you know?
Yeah. And I think it gave a very early validation to that. So it's, but you know, at the same time, still working in songwriter worlds and songwriter circles. And, you know, most of my shows for my whole life have never been not really in guitar worlds. They've sort of just been general public. So I'm always trying to write songs that connect with everyone and not just with musicians.
Did you notice through this record, the defining of success, that you did start having a more of a guitar oriented audience? Or did people like discuss stuff with you more guitar than they used to?
I think this one went the opposite way, actually.
Really?
I think, it was definitely more a guitar audience before that. Whereas this record has definitely helped diversify the audience and the people that listen and connect to my music. So,
okay, so you had all these people that were acoustic guitar people vibing on you in the past, and now you got, okay, I get it, right.
Yeah,
very cool, man. It's a great record. I want to talk about some of the tracks on there. The song "Habit," I thought you did such a good job building up to the solo. You know, you did a really good job on, you know, putting a climax together, and I think, as a writer and as a soloist, that's everything, but it's hard to do that. You know, that's what everybody wants to do, but it's like hard to, you know, you don't nail it like that as well as you did in that song. And, you know, by the time you came back down, I was like focused on nothing but every single note coming out of there, you know? So I was, what was the backstory to that song, and what guitar were you playing? Also talk about the title.
Yeah, cool. So that is my favorite song on the record, man. It it still gives me absolute goosebumps. That came from somewhere else, that song. And it's really simple because it's based around the melody is essentially just low voice guitar chords, which is unusual for one, but it makes it super interesting. And then the bass note doesn't really change through the whole thing either. Okay. And it basically stemmed out of, I developed this really annoying habit, and I couldn't kick it. And it was, you know, it was something I did with my hands, and it even stopped me from playing guitar. Like, I'd be sitting and practicing, and then I'd think about something, and then I'd start doing this thing, and it would just drive me insane. So,
can you say what it is, or if you can't, that's cool, totally cool.
No, I won't do it because then people will see it because I haven't kicked it yet. So,
okay, it's cool. No, totally good.
It's one of those things. but yeah, and so the song has that habitual nature. So it's a cyclic thing. The bass line is repetitive and the rhythm is repetitive, so that it's just going through the building and hopefully decimating of this habit. You know, the working
so
through
the whole
of it.
climax was to blow the habit up.
Yeah, yeah. So
Very
that's
cool, man.
You know, like that's sort of the musical progression of it for me.
Very cool.
And yeah, so it was a fun song to work out, because initially, like, you know, the bass player always wanted to go to the 4 chord, and I'm like, no, man, don't do it. Like, it just sounds like it just got really cheesy then. So we, yeah, it's a tough one for bass players to stay down there. But so what did I play on that song? So that I played, the guitar is my thin line Fender. Well, it's not a Fender actually, a thin line telly that I put together from parts. So it's actually, I've got it next to me now, so I'll hold it up. So it's this super cool.
Yeah. So it's like it looks like Olympic white from here.
Yeah, it's sort of like a translucent blonde thing.
Okay. With a black pick guard, and it looks like Seymour Duncan mini humbucker in the neck.
Yeah, so it's got the Firebird pickup in the neck. And then the cool thing about this guitar is that it's a solid rosewood neck.
Oh, okay. So that looks cool.
That's what I was trying to find when I was putting this guitar together. And it was very influenced by one of Bill Frisell's guitars. And so, yeah, it was just the idea of creating a telly that was slightly left of center. And I think I became a telly player really because of Tommy Emmanuel, going that far back.
Right.
And the two things about going back to even earlier before, about how I was trying to develop a sound on an electric guitar, one of the things I really consciously did was I actually, you know, had to put different pickups and things in guitars so that I wasn't instantly finding in my head cliche sounds. So I would find, you know, like if I pick up a Strat, I play like Stevie Ray Vaughan or John Mayer. You know, if I picked up a 335, I was trying to sound like Robin Ford. So over the last several years, I really was trying to create guitars that were familiar but didn't, in my head, have those cliche sounds. So yeah,
man, that's great. I appreciate your independence, man. Believe me, that's
so
really cool.
Well, it just led me to being able to, in my head, play the way I would if I was playing an acoustic guitar, rather than playing like I'm trying to emulate someone. So yeah,
it's funny. I'm just thinking about something in my mind. I'll say it. I've now gotten turned on to Bill Frisell is going to be coming on my show. So everything with this show is organic. So yesterday I'm talking to this guy. I've been trying to get a hold of. A listener told me, hey, you need to listen to this guy called Jim Thomas, and he plays for a band in the Bay Area or the North California, the Merman. And it's like surf music, but it's real psychedelic. And I'm really into psychedelic music. Yeah. And man, I've been trying to get a hold of the dude, and I emailed him a while back, and I found a couple of phone numbers. I text them both, and I never heard from the dude. So I was like, okay, you know, that's fine. You know, that's some people I'm going to have on the show, some people I'm not. And last night, late, I get late, like it was like 7:30. So, which is not late, but I usually don't get calls. He's like, and he's in California, and hey, this is Jim Thomas. And he tells me about this movie Bill Frisell did. Yeah. So I'm watching it. I started watching it last night on Netflix. Now you mentioned Bill Frisell. So now I know, again, this is just a Bill Frisell. This is leading to Bill Frisell coming on my show.
Man, Bill is my favorite musician of all time. He is the man. Yeah.
What a talent, man.
Yeah.
What a talented guy. I had another guy on that you probably would like, Nels Cline.
Yeah. Nels probably gets a bit too out there for me, but definitely appreciate what he does.
Yeah. He's a very experimental at times.
Yeah.
So another track I wanted to talk about on the record is called Flight.
Fight.
What's that?
Fight.
I'm sorry. I don't know why I thought it was Flight. It's Fight. Sorry about that. It's right after Habit. And it's kind of like a funk tune with like some really hard edge country picking in there, but with a blues feel. So like it was like loads of cool guitar stuff going on there. Great guitar stuff. same thing. I was curious, what were you playing on there? What guitar, and what were you playing through? And also, what does Fight represent as far as the title?
Yeah, cool. So guitar-wise, actually, that song again was my Telly. Yeah, I only played 2 guitars on that record. So the thin line Telly was on that song, but on the bridge pickup for that sort of nasty sound. Sort of influenced by Jim Campolongo. I don't know if you've...
I had him on the show. Yeah, plays a Chico Han, and he plays an old Fender. Yeah.
Yeah. So sort of influenced by like his whole thing.
He's a beast.
Yeah, and it focuses on a lot of the melody is really.
It's funny now that you mentioned that. I could see that because it's like he combines like if I could see that very much now. Yeah.
So it's a lot of banjo rolls, which is like another sort of Tommy Emmanuel thing, and it's a. I think I nearly play it entirely fingerstyle on the record, so you can hear it on the solo acoustic thing I did earlier this year as well. So there's a solo acoustic version where you can just hear what I'm playing, and it's nearly the exact same thing as that. And it's pretty nasty.
You tore it up in there, man. You really tore it up in there. It was great.
Yeah, and there's a lot of weird polyrhythms going on with the band as well, where I'm always playing the one of the bar, but the drums and bass are playing the end beat everywhere. So it gets this really disjointed, fun thing. And my bass player, Mitch Cairns, was really responsible for coming up with that crazy idea. So, yeah, it's cool. So I played my Telly through, what did I have? I'm thinking it was the Vemoram Jan Ray for a bit of overdrive there. And then my 2-Rock Classic Reverb signature amp. Yeah.
Oh, you're in the Schofield. All you guys are 2-Rock.
Yeah. I've been a 2-Rock guy for like 12, 13 years now.
Oh, that's a long time.
Yeah, I got on board very early on, and once again, it was in the pursuit of trying to sound like Robin Ford. That was funny. The whole idea. So. Yeah.
And what does Fight represent? The song.
Okay, well, the idea was that it's the process of booking concert tours.
It's a fight at times.
It's a fight every time. So just trying to book gigs, it feels like you're just getting in the ring, trying to convince people.
You do all this yourself. You book all your own stuff.
I'm currently still booking everything myself. So
give credit, man. It's a lot of hats you got to wear, and they're not easy, and they're very different, and you got to be.
And they're really ugly hats.
And you got to work as hard at each one, even the stuff you don't like and the stuff you do.
So it was, that real like nasty. I'm getting in the ring now to try and book some shows.
Well, dude, you got in the ring with that song with your guitar. It sounded great.
Yeah.
And then Conquer, that song's got everything. It's got acoustic, electric. It's like prog rock, bluesy. You got volume swells, changes in timbre, and again, a really good climax. And to me, it was a great example of the guitar playing's great, but it's a great example of how great writing trumps, fancy shredding or anything else. Just really well written.
Thank you. So that song's pretty crazy because it's just one guitar.
Really?
The whole thing. Yeah.
That's not an acoustic.
No, so it's guitar, bass, and drums, and that's it. So I played on that. So I only played 2 electric guitars on the record, and this was my Nick Huber Rietbergen.
Okay, so that's it's got like the one with the semi-hollow.
Yeah, so it's basically
it's a really cool. It sounded like a Strat on there. It was really weird.
So it's a 335 size guitar, physically, like dimension. It's a Fender scale length, so it's 25.5-inch scale length.
Right.
It's mahogany neck, mahogany chambered body, and a Californian redwood top. And then it's got 2 single coil Lola gold foil pickups in it. So it actually sounds sort of more like, the idea was it was a giant telly at the end of the day that sort of looks more like a 335. And I ordered that, like Nick and I worked on that for a while, and it's since become my signature model because so many people have started ordering that guitar.
See, that's very cool.
So it's
Nick N-I-K, if I've recalled.
N-I-K,
Yeah, Nick Huber. That's cool.
Yeah. And it's an incredible instrument. So that's usually what I'm touring with, that guitar, because and it has all those elements. It sort of sounds like an acoustic, sort of sounds like a Strat, sort of can sound even like a 335 if I wanted to. It's really versatile.
And if you got gold foils in there, that's got a great, like, soulful, like a Freddie King. I mean,
they're amazing, man. That whole guitar just is the goods. So, and yeah, I can do a lot with it. Like I remember the week I got it, I played an outdoor festival, I think you mentioned, in Italy. So it was an outdoor, I don't know, a few thousand people there. And I played it direct into the PA and played it like it was an acoustic for that show, just so it would thump through the subs, and it was amazing.
Great sounding guitar, man.
Yeah. So on that song, I think I've got like a tempo delay the whole time. So it's just sort of going, like bouncing off. But then it's also all the parts. It sounds like there's multiple parts, but I'm actually playing them at once. So the melody and the backing.
No overdubs on anything.
There's no overdub. Yeah. So it's actually fingerstyle all going on there. I actually did try to overdub it, and it all sounded disconnected. So I worked out a way to play it all solo. And then there's a couple of sounds later, and they're the sort of Frizzell inspired reverse looping stuff, which is all done in the one live take.
That's amazing, man. So you spent a lot of time woodshedding and this isn't stuff you just woke up that morning and like said, oh, let me do this. I mean, this is a lot.
No, this is, there was a lot of practice gone into actually crafting how to play this. But and it was, that idea of just sort of overcoming everything that's in your way and taking it all on. And the song is probably a bit long in reality. I don't often play it live because I feel like it just goes too long.
No, but I love 7 minutes, man. I love long songs. Maybe I'm a weirdo. When they're good. When they're not, they're like, fuck,
Yeah. Well, I tried to take out a verse somewhere, and it just never, it sort of needed it all there. So.
Oh, it's great.
So that's, once again, that's the Huber through the two rock. And I think I had this pedal made by a guy in Denmark called the Nordvang Custom. And that's just giving that very light overdrive. And it's sort of a clon sort of thing again. It's his take on a clon. But there's something about that pedal in low gain that just is unbelievable. So
very cool.
Yeah.
Well, I love the record. I want everybody to make sure you check it out. It's called The Defining of Success by Adam Miller. Great record. It's available. I listen to it on Apple Music. It's available everywhere, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's available on all your favorite outlets. It's available on vinyl through my website as well.
Great.
So if you need it,
AdamMiller.com.au.
Yes.
And
exactly.
So let me just, and if you push for time, let me just tell you the songs: Habit, Fight, and Conquer. Those are my favorites. They're great tracks.
Awesome.
Where in Australia, you said you grew up in Newcastle?
Yeah.
Correct. What, 1 million people, was that like more of a suburbs, I guess, then?
It's hard to say. I guess it is sort of more like the suburbs, but the town centre is, the way our cities work is just different. But it was,
it's very, you know what's funny? Like a lot of Australian guys I've met, especially in my business career, they're always giving shit to like English people as, oh, the pommies. But everything is set up really similar. Like, well, first of all, there's a Newcastle, of course, in England.
Of course,
there's a town center in England. So there's a lot of similarities.
No, there's not. Well, that's what I was trying to say. There isn't really a town center in our thing. So it's, like there is a CBD, but it's not much of one. It's just sort of, it is all spaced out. I guess sort of it is a little bit like the suburbs, but it's a very famous sort of rock town. So like, a lot of, the biggest musical export from there is Silverchair.
Oh, sure.
Huge. Yeah. So they're kind of the biggest, internationally well-known sort of thing out of there. And
very cool.
But very much rock town. So it was cool to grow up through that.
What kind of work did your parents do?
My dad was a school teacher and my mum a personal assistant. Yeah.
Very cool, man. talk about, were they musical at all? Like, were you the only musical?
It's basically, yeah, like my mum can sort of play, and actually she's just started playing the ukulele.
That's
pretty
great.
seriously to take it up. And my dad cannot play at all, but he had a guitar from teachers college that sat in the house. And so I got sent to organ lessons when I was 4 because my mum wanted us kids to sort of learn something musical.
Sure.
And we, I started that, but then picked guitar up at 8. I can't play the organ at all. I can like play session Hammond organ, which involves going and then flicking the Leslie. Yeah. But I cannot really play other than that.
Big family? A lot of kids?
No, I've got a brother and sister, both younger. Yeah. And they're not musical.
Yeah. Did they say mum over there or mom, like here in the States?
Well, it's M-U-M.
Yes, but it's all right. Okay, so it's like the UK too, but it's pronounced mum, but it's Yeah, I don't know. Especially when I'm talking with Americans, my accent is a little bit hybridized to try and allow people to understand things better. I don't go full Aussie on ya. Yeah. You know, it's funny. My wife's from the UK and she's been here, man, like 30, probably 30 years. We've been together 26, so she probably had 30, 31. And people ask her, "Oh, are you Australian?" I'm like, "She doesn't sound anything Australian, man." I'm like, there's a big difference in the accent.
There's a big difference in everyone's accent. It's really hard to pick a lot of things sometimes.
Yeah, it's weird. All right, so talk about you're a fingerstyle guitarist not by nature. That was what your early success was, and your early thing was. You wanted to change to get your own style on the electric. Were you well versed, or like, did you listen to all these genres as a kid, or?
I guess so. I started listening to music in the late 80s, early 90s. And that's when I was playing guitar. So, one of the first albums I remember sort of learning a lot of was like Eric Clapton's Unplugged album.
Sure.
Things like that came out at the time. And then one of the biggest influences was Tommy Emmanuel. And because Tommy in Australia at that time was predominantly an electric guitar player, like his albums were predominantly electric guitar sort of stuff, and they varied from like sort of chicken picking to like a very authentic old style version of guitar boogie to sort of more Joe Satriani shred sort of things to Stevie Ray Vaughan.
I didn't know any of this about Tommy. I didn't know anything about his older career.
So this is the Tommy I know and that I idolized as a kid. But because he was essentially Australia's top session guitar player before this as well, learning his stuff, I just learned every style, which was amazing.
Okay.
It sort of gave me that, I didn't hear Stevie Ray Vaughan first. I heard Tommy Emmanuel's song called Stevie's Blues, which basically sounds like a Stevie Ray Vaughan song.
Gotcha. Okay.
And it gave me that bursting and everything. And then, sort of the stuff through high school I was super into the Chili Peppers and Rage Against the Machine, and learned all of that stuff note for note on guitar and bass. So it sort of gave me that foundation in that sort of thing as well. So
you really got exposed to everything.
Totally, man. Yeah. And a lot of my career has been working, is like playing for pop artists and playing in rock bands and cover bands. And so it's not just, the sort of fingerstyle acoustic thing was almost just a special occasion sort of gig when it wasn't wild. My regular work.
Interesting how that happens.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, Adam. Any low points or dark periods you've had to get through?
Not so much for me. I've been pretty fortunate in everything. Yeah, totally. It's just, I think it's working through, just the world as being a musician, but it's the same thing everyone faces no matter what they do really at the end of the day. I've had a pretty good run. Yeah.
Well, you're just getting started, man, as far as I'm concerned. So You'll be doing great. Any advice? What would you go back if you had to give like the younger Adam Miller some advice? I would say.
I think it would have just been to stick to what I loved. You know, not try to compromise or do what people think I should be doing was probably the hardest thing. Especially, you know, growing up, and as soon as you're a guitar player in Australia, you're compared to Tommy Emmanuel, whether you're doing anything or not, because he's a household name. It's not just musicians that know him, it's everyone, because he was essentially a pop star in Australia in the 90s. So, and, you know, it was the comparison to that. And then, you know, thinking that I had to sing because people wouldn't book me gigs as an instrumentalist. And but yeah,
interesting.
And for the most part, I did stick to it, but there were definitely times where I wavered.
Yeah, it really sounds like you did a great job there. Okay, so let me ask you this: what gave you the confidence to stick it out?
To be perfectly honest, I think it was a weekend in New York. So I'd released two albums, and I'd toured with Tommy Emmanuel a bit. And I was this was like mid-20s, and I was already sort of going, okay, maybe it's time to do something else and have a go at some other things. And I spent a week in New York, and I got to finally see Charlie Hunter play and meet him and hang out. And that just blew my mind that, you know, I guess, you know, and this is, well, Charlie and I are good friends now, so it's sort of fine. And, you know, in my head, I'd come from this world where being a performer, I'd toured with Tommy Emmanuel in Australia, and it was like there were 1,000-seat theaters every night. So I'm like, unless you're doing 1,000-seat theaters, there's no point playing.
Right.
And then I go to this show of Charlie's, so there's maybe 50 to 100 people there.
Right.
But it was like the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life, and everything, you know, it was just really cool. And it just gave me this, that it didn't have to look like what I sort of imagined things had to look, where you know, spend $10,000 on a gig to make, you know, 15 back or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, in putting the show on, it didn't have to be so extreme. And then, that same weekend in New York City, I managed to talk my way into on stage playing with Les Paul.
With Les Paul, I was wondering who that was. Okay, you must be a pretty good salesman, man. That's a good.
No, that was just a total. I couldn't get in with a ticket and just made a joke.
And then you wound up playing on stage with Les.
I basically turned up with a guitar because I was staying at a hostel and didn't want to leave my guitar in the hostel.
Oh my God, how funny is this?
And then, they said, oh, it's sold out this evening. And I said, oh, well, I'm a guest artist. And they said, okay. And just took me downstairs and backstage.
Were you shitting yourself at that point?
No, I don't know. It was very purposed or something. So Les looked up at me and said, oh, who are you? I said, oh, I'm Adam. I've played with Tommy Emmanuel a lot. He's like, oh, cool. Well, what are we playing tonight?
This is at the Iridium, I'm assuming.
It's at the Iridium, yeah.
Holy smoke. You know, it's interesting about Charlie, of everybody, and I've interviewed over 500 people at this point, you know, probably 520. Of everybody I've spoken to, his pursuit of, it's not excellence, his pursuit of almost like connection.
Yeah.
Because it's not, he's not playing to get better. Although he is, but he's not, you know, his pursuit of connection to the instrument.
Yeah, it's insane. It's very inspiring, and it's
greater than anybody's I've spoke to.
Yeah,
I will say that hands down.
He's a machine, and it was because I played one of his guitars for many years, and I have one of his old guitars now that I play when I've been in Australia. I actually generally play it with pop artists, backing pop artists, so that they've got a great bass player and simple guitar player that they can trust that's learnt the songs. But he's definitely a huge inspiration for me from many points of view. Yeah.
And he just wants to be Excellent. Again, it's really not his like he does the same thing with the tambourine, like he'll practice, I think 3 hours.
The Pandero.
Yeah. Just to get like,
yeah.
So to get his rhythm chops up. I mean,
Yeah. When Charlie and I would hang out a lot, like he would play drums and I'd play his guitar.
Right.
And it would be like, he's just like, I just want to hear like what this instrument sounds like to a drummer to understand what I have to do better.
Right.
To work it out. And he just, like we would spend 2 or 3 hours playing in his shed and he'd be playing drums. And here I am fumbling my way around his guitar.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you weren't fumbling, but
try not to freak out.
Intense. Yeah. He's really, I really respected him. Plus he's had such a weird background, with living on the streets in Europe and stuff. And like, what a great story it was, man.
Yeah.
Very, very pure guy.
Amazing. Yeah.
Let's talk about guitar and music for a little bit.
Yeah.
When did you do you still practice?
Every day. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What did you last practice?
I'm not sure. I generally just pick up a guitar and play, but everything's sort of pretty intense, I guess. But it's really it's often just a G chord. I really like the sound of G chords. Yeah.
So our practice routine is very similar.
Yeah, cool.
That's because I can't do much more.
Yeah, but definitely, I'm usually wake up and have a guitar in my hand and go to bed with a guitar in my hand.
How long a day, ballpark, you think you're holding the guitar for?
I think at the moment life's a little bit scattered with traveling, but if I'm in a sort of normal environment, it would be 2 or 3 hours a day.
Oh, that's quite a bit of practice still. That's great. Good for you.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I one thing's consistent in life, you cannot reach a certain level of excellence like with you and your playing. There's no happy accident about that. There's a lot of work involved, and
exactly. There's as much gift as there's probably a
yes, I think
portion of work than there is gift.
Whatever. Yeah. There's a hell of a lot of work. It's not like, and here you are, how many years into playing guitar? 25? 30?
Yeah, well, 30 years now. Yeah.
And you're still playing 2-3 hours every day. So that's like,
yeah. I think for me, if I didn't have that connection of just love towards it, then I couldn't be doing what I'm doing now.
Sure. Yeah. Favorite song that you wrote and why? If you have a favorite.
Like Habit is pretty close.
That's
the
cool.
other one that's really, and it does connect with a lot of people, it's called Blues for Bert.
What is that? What record is that on?
That's off Shifting Units. So it was the record before The Defining of Success.
Which Bert is that?
Bert is my grandfather, who's 96.
That's really cool.
And still kicking hard. So he's amazing. But it's a really simple, slightly alternate blues, and I guess it is fingerpicked, the melody, but I have no idea where I got this whole idea from. And it's just, it's every time I play it, I just smile, and everyone in the room smiles. It's just, everyone's happy. It's just the ultimate joy song.
And I'm assuming you've told him about it, or he's heard it.
Oh, he's heard it multiple times. He's been at shows. He's like, yeah, that song's about me.
He's got to be stoked, right?
Yeah. He sees videos from around the world of me playing it and goes, yeah. He's super happy. Yeah.
So Blues for Bert, B-U-R-T or B-E-R-T?
B-E-R-T.
B-E-R-T. And it's Shifting, what's the album?
Unit.
Shifting
Units. Yeah.
Great. Shifting Units. I'm going to check that out. Thank you, man. That's really cool. Favorite players you've enjoyed playing with?
There's so many from home, I'm going to say. Like, obviously there are the ones like you mentioned in your bio, like, guys like, playing with Charlie is amazing. Like a lot of the guys I get to play with back home are just incredible and get to spend so much time working with them. So like, I really do love like playing with drummers and bass players. So the drummer and bass player from the last record, incredible. The bass player, Mitch Cairns.
What a great name.
Yeah.
Mitch Cairns. That's a good name.
So we grew up in Newcastle sort of together and started playing and working our way through the scene, and, you know, sort of ended up like the session band in town. Like we were the people that would get the call for this, you know, the singer of the time and that sort of thing. So, and then we now live quite far apart, even in Australia from that point of view. But he's, just an incredible bass player and an incredible musician. He's a renowned producer as well. So playing with him is amazing. And then the drummer from the last record, Dom Borjastovsky, I started playing with him when he was quite young. So like, I think 18 when he first started doing shows with me. And it was just a time when all the drummers I'd worked with had left town. And I needed someone, and he had an incredible feel and tone and was super passionate and just developed into one of the most amazing drummers with a unique sound and feel, and just instantly able to, like, I don't really have to tell him what to ever play in a song. It's just like, I just start playing and he plays, and that's sort of it. So having those guys to work with is amazing. And Dom's gone off. He plays in this huge Australian rock band now called Gang of Youths. And they toured with the Foo Fighters last year here in the US, and they're on tour with Mumford and Sons in Europe now. But
what's it? Gang of Youths?
Yeah.
It's a cool title.
Yeah. So they're, so I'm not even sure when I'll get to see him next, let alone even be able to organize playing with him. But just stoked for that. And there are just so many musicians around my hometown and guitar players that are scarily good that, like a guy I grew up with who worked in a local guitar store that I ended up working at as well, a guy named Paul Carrell. And he just, he was basically Clapton. You know, he's what's Paul, like mid-50s now. And he's just always played around our hometown. But I remember like going to sit in with him one night, and, you know, like I could play and shred, and I would like just shred these solos, and he'd just come out and just go, da, 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 ba. And it was like my 400 notes were useless.
Right. Economics.
It was just like guys like that. And, you know, like he had a dance floor filled with women, and it was like, like this guy knows what's going on. So
that's very cool.
Yeah, some of my biggest inspirations have been like sort of my hometown sort of people, which is really nice. Yeah.
So you guys, Mitch and Dom, have only played together this record?
Well, Mitch and Dom played on the previous record as well.
Okay.
Not the whole thing. There was
really tight.
But we did get to do a lot of shows together over the last several years. But one of the downsides of everyone being that busy was actually that album didn't get to be tracked live. We actually had to multi-track it because I couldn't get everyone in the same room at the same time. But what we would do is Dom and I would lay down the song, and I would actually play Charlie Hunter's old guitar.
That's fun. So you play some bass.
So I'd be playing the whole song. So we'd have the whole song there. We'd have solos built and that sort of thing, the way we would do it live. And then, Mitch would throw a real bass line down, and then I'd just play 6-string guitar on it. But yeah.
Very cool, man. You guys sound great together. Really good. I would have thought you'd been together a while.
Yeah, well, we have. Like, it's on and off, like 7 years.
Is there a lot of session work? Sorry, is there session work in Newcastle still?
Session work is a complicated thing. I definitely, if I'm at home, like I'm usually playing like 5 nights a week.
Okay.
Playing for different people, or even just doing my shows. And but the session thing is different in Australia because there's not like touring gigs as much. You know, like you tour Australia, you do 5 dates, you're done. because
Okay.
there's just not the population to support, like, you know, like if you go on the road in the US, you do 60
How many
dates.
How many people are in Australia?
Australia, it's around
Ballpark.
26 million.
So it's the same size as the States, but 1/10 of the less. It's 2/3 of 1/10, 6% of the population.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know that. That's really interesting.
Yeah. So, and you know, so like the bulk of the population is all in the major cities.
Yeah.
So it's
So we should be moving there.
So, well, depending what you want to do. If you want to be a touring musician, no. Which is why we all end up here.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, for space, because there's no there. I mean, there's there's exceptions more, of course, in the center of the country here, but you know, there's 375 million people here, and you guys have 26. That. Wow.
Yeah, but there is a lot of space, but there's a lot of unlivable space as well. But
right in the middle, what is that called again? In the bush.
We would say the bush.
Yeah.
I guess, you know, the popular term is the outback. But
in the outback. Okay. Yeah.
I don't think I've really ever used the term outback in a conversation.
Yeah. not with Australians, I'm sure. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's funny, man. Hey, top desert island discs, Adam, top 3 knee-jerk reaction just for now.
Yeah. I would say, Good Dog, Happy Man, Bill Frisell.
Oh, you're big into Bill. That's great.
Yeah. Because I do listen to it all the time. Paradise Valley by John Mayer. And then just trying to think, there's something else I just listen to constantly that's easy. Let's say, just for the point of view of making people aware, World Fair by Julian Lage.
So this same guy was telling me how Julian is a monster player too.
Julian is one of the people that has terrified me more than anyone.
Really?
In recent years, just because he's so technically amazing, but also so cool at the same time now. Like, he's just, you know, developed this whole super cool thing that he does. And yeah, like if people just want to check out what's it called? The intro that he plays in I'll Be Seeing You live in Los Angeles.
Okay.
And it's a record, and it's also on YouTube, so you can actually see it to believe it. But the guitar sound and what he plays, and from what I've heard, apparently it was improvised. It sounds like a classical composition, but it's terrifying. Yeah.
I've reached out to him a couple of times, but I think he's just so busy touring, because I've interviewed Nels, who plays with Julian, of course, and Chris Eldridge.
Yeah.
He's another great player, so I'll have to reach out to him.
Actually, that's another album I do listen to all the time, the Chris Eldridge and Julian Lage album.
Yeah, I forgot the King, what's it called?
Mount Royal is the one that stays constantly. Right. Yeah.
Great record, man. Really good record.
Yeah, that's probably there maybe instead of World Fair. I was trying to think, there was some acoustic album that I listen to all the time. It's that one. Yeah.
Good record. Chris is nice. If you don't know Chris, he's a very nice guy as well.
No, I haven't met him.
Real sweet guy. So what is, so far, best decision you've ever made?
Well, you know, I would definitely say meeting and marrying my wife, Holly.
There you go. How long have you been together, man?
We've been married for almost 10 years and together a bit longer. So,
congratulations. Yeah. That's not a thing that, like, you know, your generation does anymore.
Yeah, and it's not, talking about the defining of success, it's not a thing many musicians manage to do either. So
yeah. Very cool, man. Congratulations. 10 years is a long time. Good for you, man.
Yeah.
Most important things you've learned about yourself?
That I need food. And that's not a joke. Like, literally, like, you know, I need to get up and eat something, or I'm a grumpy person.
Yeah, I hear you.
that I need exercise. I'm very much missing my mountain bike in Los Angeles at the moment.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
my preferred sort of form of getting around. And yeah, that I probably just need to stress about things less. And that's very much a family trait. My grandfather Bert and my mum, you can see our lineage.
Warriors?
There.
You guys are warriors?
Sorry?
You're warriors, yeah.
A little bit, yeah. Maybe probably just overthinkers.
Age will help you with that, for whatever that's worth. Not that you got to look for, not that you can rush it.
It doesn't seem like that from looking at, once again, the lineage. So I'm very aware of,
Well, awareness is the first step, right?
Yeah, exactly. Identify the problem and then work on it from there.
That's right, man. What do you like most about yourself? That's always a tough question, especially for musicians.
Yeah, I think that one thing I know I've done, especially, is just continue on and not actually compromise that much with what I'm doing, and sort of have a pretty good idea, and that hopefully I'm a positive influence on people around me.
Well, I was just sitting here thinking to myself, you seem like a really optimistic, like a very positive, optimistic person. I was literally just thinking of that as you said. I was going to ask you that next. So you are.
Yeah.
You are.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Well, you give that vibe off, man. So whatever, it's working. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, like talking about all those things, is that one thing I learned early on was that I didn't have that many positive influences in my life musically, like directly. It took me a lot. Like I didn't have people really take me under their wing, but I just looked to different people and how they helped me out in different ways, and always wanted to pass that on and pass that sort of knowledge and wisdom and anything I had to offer to pretty much anyone that asks. So it was, because I really identified those few people early on that really just went just helped me and opened the doors. So, yeah.
Very cool, man. Do you have any non-musical superpowers?
Only my mountain bike skills, which, I'm not bad. I was ranked first in Australia in downhill mountain biking as a teenager.
Serious?
Yeah, just like for 2 weeks, there was a period where I can say I was number one on the ladder. So
that's really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty fun, and it's a really great way to get away from the guitar. And honestly, I've been doing it so long, it's a pretty calculated risk. Although I did break my arm a couple of years ago, very slightly.
That's not bad. If that's the only industry you had, and you're into mountain biking that much.
Yeah,
that's pretty.
Yeah, so that was like a week before a European tour.
Wow.
But it was another moment of really defining what I was doing. I think most of my stuff was really flashy just before that. Like I was really still focusing on speed and everything I could do on a guitar. And then that tour, I couldn't play that stuff. It would, like, my hand was in so much pain. The whole thing was in trauma. So I had to slow down everything. And on that tour, I started playing a lot of the songs off the Defining of Success, because they worked and I could, get them across easier.
Funny how sometimes things like work in ways that you never could have expected. Like had that not happened, you might not have had these songs.
Yeah. Like, that album could have just been a whole lot of shredding or something else.
That's really cool. I love hearing that, because I've learned, because this has happened so much in my life, and it's reinforced by listening to everybody's story, that if something's bad, I always take it in stride, unless it's health, of course, with a family, which thank God it hasn't been. But, that, well, we'll see, which just it doesn't mean it just means it's going to be a different direction or whatever,
Exactly.
I see that a lot. That's cool, man. Congratulations on that. Any hobbies or interests outside of music besides mountain biking?
Honestly, yeah, not really. Everything is very music related, unfortunately.
No, it's cool. Is there a favorite Australian food that you miss?
I miss the freshness of a lot of our produce and things
Sure.
but yeah, most of it I can get here, and I cook a lot, so yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's a
find
common
ways
thing.
around it.
Yeah, that's a common thing with produce, I know.
Mm.
2 more questions, man. Toughest decision you've had to make, or most difficult thing you've had to do?
Probably this move here was really hard. So yeah, we have a nephew that we're really close to in Australia, to the point a year or two ago we brought him over here on tour for a couple of weeks so he could understand why we're always going away.
Is that like your brother or your sister's son?
So my wife's brother's son. Yeah,
well, that's really nice.
So
that's really cool.
So his name's Noah, and
shout out to Noah. There you go, man.
Yeah, so leaving him for a good period of time was probably one of the toughest things we've had to do.
That was really kind of you to bring him out, though. It was really nice. He probably loved it. No,
he sold some serious merch for me. He would go around and hassle people. How old was he at the time? Like 9, but he really took it on. He's like, yeah, I'm going to sell CDs to people.
That's
like,
great.
Forced it on them.
Yeah. Well, maybe he's got a career. He could do that, teach that to others.
Yeah. Nothing like a cute kid to sell. It's amazing. Yeah.
Bring a puppy with him. You'll double it.
Exactly.
Biggest change in your personality over the last 10 years, and how much of that has been intentional and how much is just you getting older?
Definitely the more outgoing and ability to converse with people, sometimes that aren't musical. So, and I think that's just a result of having to travel so much and being in environments that you're uncomfortable with. You have to adapt.
That's really cool, man. That's a huge growth thing, man. That's like it pays you off.
Yeah, that's everything. Yeah, exactly. So just being able to handle that stuff and talk.
So you tended to be more introverted as younger?
Yeah, totally.
Is your wife introverted or is she outgoing?
I would definitely say she's very outgoing.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, it's always interesting watching other dynamics of how that, because everybody's relationship is different, and it's like every different things work for different people,
Yeah, and as you spend more time with someone, you become more like them. So
yeah, kind
of. It always happens that way.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. That's why you better spend time with someone good. You want to become nicer, right?
Exactly.
Hey, listen, first of all, I want to wish you congratulations on all the great work you've done. I want to tell and encourage and thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate your time. When you drop your next record, you're more than welcome. Please come back on here. I'd love to
definitely will.
The next record. I'd like everybody to check out Adam Miller's music. It's at adammiller.com.au as in Australia. His last album, The Defining of Success, man, it's a really good record. And I love the 3 songs. The whole album's great, but my favorite 3 songs in there are Habit, Fight, and Conquer. The last song, Conquer, is 7 minutes, which is right up my alley. Great song. Great guitar playing. It's really good songs, man. I was really happy. I had, just like I said, it was the first time I checked you out, and I really liked it. I was really happy.
Thank you.
Also, if he is on Instagram at Adam Miller Guitar, he's on Facebook at Adam Miller Music.
Yes,
Adam Miller Music, and you can follow him on Spotify. And also in July, shortly after this comes out, he is going to be touring back through home. It'll be nice to go back home, no?
Definitely, yeah.
That's cool. So is that going to be weird coming back home when you're not living there?
I don't think so. No.
Yeah. Okay. It'd be just like coming back home.
Yeah. I'm not sure where home is right now from the point of basing. It's actually just wherever the guitars are like or there's an amplifier sometimes.
Home is where the heart is, Adam.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said, guitars.
Yeah, man. And also check out the shows on his website. And so are you coming back? You said, are you coming back to the States, later on in the year?
Yeah, the current plan is maybe September, October, but there's nothing set in place just yet. So,
great.
But, by the time this interview actually comes out, maybe they'll dates will all be on the website. So
great.
Go and check it. Yeah.
Please check Adam's website. Again, it's adammiller.com.au, and come out and visit him in the show, support his music, and definitely listen to his music for sure. He's a great player and really, really good songwriter. So, man, anything I forget? Any final words of wisdom or anything?
I think we're all sorted.
Yeah. Thank you, man. I really appreciate your time. Honestly, best of luck with everything. It was really a joy listening to music and talking with you, man.
Thank you, Craig. Thank you.
Everybody, thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this interview, please share it on your social media channels. We appreciate your support. Thanks again to Adam Miller for coming on the show, and please check him out and support his music. I always try to do this by memory now. This is horrible. I'm trying to look into the camera.
Yeah.
It's like my own show. Why don't I memorize? I've done this 500 something times. Make sure you go to Everyone Loves Good. I'm going to hang this right up here. Make sure you go to everyonelovesguitar.com and sign up to get on our newsletter list so you and I can connect. And most important, remember that happiness is a choice. So choose wisely. Be nice, go play your guitar, and have fun. Till next time, peace and love, everybody. I am out.